In this video, I want to show you how to joint the edges of materials that you'll be using for stiles and rails. This applies for the face frames of the cabinets as well as the door parts. In all likelihood, you'll be using ready milled lumber. This is standard 3/4 inch thick pine. It's actually a little bit thinner than 3/4. They don't always give us our money's worth from the mills. But the important thing to know here is that both sides are already smooth. The usual jointer procedure is to joint one face first and then an edge. But we're already as thin as we can afford to be, so we don't have any extra wood to joint on the face. But luckily that doesn't matter in this case because the wood is going to be flat enough. You're going to choose relatively flat wood, and it's also thin stock, so if there is any deviation, it will be pulled tight and straight when you do installations. So the first thing to do is to check to see that your jointer fence is actually square to the bed of the jointer. I always use a machinist square for a job like this. It's much more accurate than the wood and metal tri-squares that are used. They can be out significantly, but this is guaranteed to be accurate to a couple of thousandths of an inch over the length of the blade. So you just put it against the fence, and you're looking for a no-gap situation, of course. It's not unusual for a fence to be accurate, to be adjusted accurately at one end, and to be a little bit out at the other. This fence is pretty good. If you've got a big problem with that, you can use double-sided tape to put some hardwood, a layer of hardwood on the fence, and then you actually joint the fence, the wood of the fence, on your jointer, and that can make it true. The main thing to understand when you're jointing wood like this is you want to start with, if at all possible, a concave edge. Some edges are going to be humped up, and others are going to have a kind of a hollow in them. Some boards might have neither problem, but if you have a choice, you want to start jointing a concave edge. And the way you do that is just by placing the wood against the fence. The main thing is that the face of the board be tight to the fence as it goes across. So I'm not running the motor right now, but my main concern is to hold the wood tight to the fence. Now, in this particular case, there's a bit of a bow in this board. That's not a problem. That will straighten out when we install it. So you need to be a little forgiving of yourself. There might sometimes be a little gap there, but if it's caused by a bow, then that's no problem. And with wood as short as the stiles and rails you're dealing with, that's probably going to take just one pass to do the work that you need. And I'll fire up the jointer now and show you how it works in real life. Now we're smooth at this stage. The jointer has made a continuous cut. There's fresh wood all along the length. But just as a final check, I want to use my machinist square again to make sure that it really is square all the way along. With wood this narrow, it almost always works just fine, but it's good to check because you need that foundation of a square edge to continue.